Good morning, colleagues. We are already past 8:30 and I think we should start. Welcome to our programming committee this morning. I will start with the apologies. The speaker has apologized. She is not available. Mr. Kasu, are there any other apologies?
Good morning, Deputy Speaker and honorable members. The Chief Whip Nduli and Honorable Dana, Honorable Swart have also apologized, and Honorable Kwangwa.
Thank you. Any other apologies? Yes, Honorable Michalakis.
Morning, Deputy Speaker. Yes, Honorable Nodada, he will likely be a bit late.
Thank you. With those apologies, Honorable Mkalipi.
Thanks very much, Deputy Speaker. Apology for my Chief Whip and Honorable Natasha, they are coming.
Thank you. Honorable Dlakude.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Good morning to you and colleagues. I have an apology for the programming whip who will be joining us soon. Thanks.
Thank you. We will then proceed with those apologies noted. We now go to the consideration of the agenda. Colleagues, you have received the agenda. Could I have a proposal for adoption of the agenda? Honorable Dlakude.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I move for the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Honorable Ghana. Thank you so much. We then move on to reports and we will start with the committee section. Could we please proceed with the committee section report?
Good morning and thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. And good morning to members of Parliament and colleagues. Deputy Speaker, I wish to report that we do not have any updates in our report this morning. Committees are busy reviewing their programs and there will be updates in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kanyaza Twalu. So there's no update, so we're not dealing with that this morning. We then proceed to the next point, that's the Bills Office. Dr. Mbata.
Good morning, Honorable Deputy Speaker and honorable members. We have updates on our report on slide number 3. On slide number 3, Honorable Deputy Speaker, following the adoption of the fiscal framework by both houses yesterday, the appropriation bill B6 of 2025 and the division of revenue bill 7 of 2025 were referred to the Standing Committee on Appropriations as published.
Apologies, Dr. Mbata. Honorable Manyi. Oh, okay. You're a bit soft, Dr. Mbata, if you can just perhaps put the mic closer to you. Thank you. Okay. I think start from the beginning so that we are all on the same page.
Okay, Deputy Speaker. Thank you, honorable members. I was reporting that following the adoption of the fiscal framework by both houses yesterday, the appropriation bill, which is B6 of 2025, and the division of revenue bill B7 of 2025, were both referred to the Standing Committee on Appropriations. They were ATC'd in yesterday's ATC. In the next reporting slide, it's slide number 7. On slide number 7, Deputy Speaker, we're reporting that the President signed the General Intelligence Laws Amendment Bill, B40B of 2023. The bill was signed into law and it's now Act 37 of 2024, as published as well in the ATC of the 28th of March. Currently, there's only one bill that is with the President, which is the Transport Appeal Tribunal Amendment Bill, B8D of 2020. And the bill was passed on the 3rd of December, 2024. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Mbata. Members, any questions regarding bills before Parliament? Honorable Manyi.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I welcome the report and everything here. Just a question, so that it just doesn't fall through the cracks. what finally happened to the employment equity amendments and everything, that process? I just don't know where it is now. Can we just get a quick update?
Dr. Mbata.
Thank you, Honorable Mani. We will update the committee in our next meeting on what happened to the bill.
Thank you. We will then make a note of that. Honorable Mkalipi.
Deputy Speaker, on the committee section, the local government municipal structures, it says that the current status committee to schedule. I think maybe it is also very important to make it very clear because there are two type of contribution. One is the private members bill on the same issue and the department as well. So we met as a committee and then we said they must make it one document. They must integrate both the private members bill and this one. So I think it must be clearly because this document is not for us only, it's for the public as well. Also, last week we raised the issue of the Reserve Bank. Maybe just to put on record, what is the status of the Reserve Bank since we raised it last week? Thanks.
Thank you. Dr. Ganyaza Twalu, if you can reply, please.
Good morning. Deputy Speaker, as I indicated earlier, there are no updates at this point in time, and the committees are actually reviewing their programs, and there will be updates on the SA Reserve Bank. As far as the other bills before the committee itself, I will report about it next week as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So there will then be a report back on those two matters, Honorable Mkalipi. If there are no, Honorable Mkalipi.
I think the House Chair must come in regards to the Reserve Bank. It can be. Last week we raised this matter to say that this matter has been taking too long. It has taken more than 5 years. Now it can be that the committee has been activated and told that this matter must be prioritized, and then still there's no update about this thing. I think the House Chair of Chairpersons must come in just to give us guidance how to move forward with this issue now.
Honorable Frolick.
Good morning, Deputy Speaker and honorable members. Since the last meeting, which was last Thursday, the Finance Committee in both houses, together with the appropriation committees, were seized with the consideration of the fiscal framework and finalizing their report. There is at this stage thus no response from the chairperson. The chairperson undertook to provide a written response to me, and once that is received, I'll be able to report back. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Frolick. Honorable Reddy.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Just in terms of the outstanding bills, some of the bills, committees are to schedule the bills before the committee for various reasons. And I was just hoping that if we could request, just wherever it states the current status a committee has to schedule, that we put these separately and track them, so that committees then treat them as a matter of urgency. Because I find that some of the bills are taking way too long to finalize, and we find that it's stuck in a committee because they have not scheduled the meeting. I'll give you one example. If you look at I think it's the older citizens, let me just find, okay, let's take the PC on justice. It's a protection of state information bill. There was a briefing done on the 27th of November, 2024. The committee is awaiting legal opinion from legal services. I think what we should also get here is a reason for the delay. Now we're in 2025, and up to now, there's no legal opinion, or the legal opinion is still outstanding, or where is the stuck? Maybe if that could be indicated in the report. Then there's a bill on the senior citizens. Let me just see. I'll find that now. Yes. Yes, it's the older persons AB, social development.
Honorable Reddy, could you just give us a page number?
Yes, the page number will be 26.
Thank you.
So here again, this bill is being delayed because committee has yet to schedule this item before the committee. So that will be the PC on social development. If we could get a status report on where these are sitting in the committees, it'll give us some idea about when we can expect these bills to be expedited, because right now it's kind of hanging in the air, as it were. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Reddy. I think this is something that the committee section should take note of. And Honourable Frolick, I don't know if you want to comment on that in terms of committee chairpersons, that they be alerted to scheduling these.
No, I think the report in front of us, and I've indicated it to the committee section already. You see, under title and date of referral, that is important. That must appear there so that we do not unfortunately come to conclusions which is not necessarily correct. So that information must be inserted there so that it's not there. The committee section must do their work. We need and require stability in the committee section. This is an issue I've raised for a very long time. And I must go, Honourable Deputy Speaker, there's still an acting manager in that section there, and that creates all sorts of challenges for us. So that we need that stability there. So that firstly needs to be done. And as far as the older persons act is concerned, I had a discussion already with the chairperson of that committee, and they initially scheduled a meeting, but then asked for a postponement due to the unavailability of members, especially during the oversight week, when members are also serving in other committees and they must go elsewhere. And maybe legal services can respond to the one on the state information bill that's being referred to.
Thank you, Honourable Frolick. Legal Services, Dr. Mbata or Advocate Adhikari.
Good morning, Honourable Deputy Speaker and members. I just wanted to check which bill the member referred to as having a legal opinion outstanding, because it may be an outdated report. There are no legal opinions outstanding on any of the bills under discussion.
Thank you, Honourable Reddy. If you can just direct us to the page, then we can just check on that.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. It's page 15. It's a PC on justice. The current status reflected here is that the committee is awaiting legal opinion from legal services. And the last briefing was on the 27th of November, 2024.
Thank you, Advocate Adhikari.
Yes, thank you very much. That does provide the clarity. I think you would appreciate that the bill commenced in 2010. And at the time of the request by the committee, after a decade had passed since the last engagement with the bill, the advisor was responsible and working on that bill is no longer with Parliament. It required then for a new team to look at the bill from scratch to advise, and that legal opinion has been concluded and has gone off. But indeed, it took a very long time to become acquainted from scratch with the history of the bill over more than a decade. Thank you.
Thank you, Advocate Adhikari, but then the committee report must just be updated to say that the report has indeed been forwarded. Thank you. Any other questions on the bills or the committee? Yes, Honourable Member Wernhoff.
Can I ask a question, and if it may add any value, that in both the committee section report and on the report on legislation, whether it'll add value if we indicate for each bill, whether it's an executive bill, a private member's bill, or a committee bill? Thank you.
Thank you. I think that might be a useful proposal that we then know whether the type of bill that it is. So if that could be indicated, Dr. Mbata, thank you very much. We will then do that, and thank you for that proposal. Honourable members, we then proceed with the next point on the agenda, and that is consideration of the parliamentary programme. Honourable Dagmar was not yet here, so I'm going to ask Mr. Kasu to please proceed and take us through the programme. I take it will be this afternoon's programme and then the second term.
Yes. Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. For this afternoon, honourable members, we doing questions starting at 2, not at 3. At 2 o'clock, it's to cluster 4. You will see the time there is ending at 5:30. It's because of the public service and administration questions that were added, standing over from the last question session. So that's 30 minutes. Thank you. So today is the last day, is the last sitting this term. If we could go to the next program or program for the next term. Deputy Speaker, we will start with committees on the 22nd of April until the 25th of April. Members will be aware that initially we had the Division of Revenue scheduled for the 24th of April. That item has since been moved at the request of both the committee and the ministry to the 6th of May. So the 28th of April to the 2nd of May, of course, it's leave period. And on the 6th of May, we have the Division of Revenue bill there. If there should be any changes, members will be informed, because it was indicated to me this morning that the 8th of May might be considered as well for that, but that information will be made available to members in due course if it does change. So the 7th of May will be questions to cluster 5, and the 8th of May, in terms of what we have currently, is questions to the Deputy President. And the 9th is mini plenaries, economic freedom fighters, IFP, ANC, and ACDP are the parties meant to sponsor debates on that day. And from the 13th of May, honourable members, until the 27th of May, we have mini plenaries. As you can see, we'll have 3 slots. So the 10 a.m. slot until 12, and the afternoon at 2 till 4, and 4:15 till 6 p.m. We were asked to make available the seat allocation for the 2 venues, because we'll now be using M46 and this venue. That information will be made available this afternoon. We just didn't want to mix it with everything else that was going on. So that information will be made available this afternoon. It is available already. So it will be circulated to the members. So that will run from the 13th of May until the 27th of May. Should there be any changes in terms of the departments in the slots, we will make, again, that information available to honorable members. On the 27th of May, we also have questions to the President in the afternoon at 3 till about 5 or 6 p.m. And then the 29th, it's debate on Africa Day, and any legislation that will be available at that point will be dealt with there. 3rd of June, we have Parliament's budget vote, and we'll also be considering reports from committees on their budget votes that day. There will be no debate, because we would have debated the votes in the mini plenaries. So there'll be no debates, no declarations on those budget votes. Then the 4 and 5 of June, the program will be presidency, vote 1. So the 4th is a debate, and the 5th is a reply by the President. And on the 10th of course, on the 6th of June, it's mini plenaries. We will also utilize, honorable members, mini plenaries for committee reports, as we've done before, because we do want to deal with these committee reports under further business to avoid the stampede we usually have at the end of the year. So on the 10th of June, we are passing the budget, or shall I say, considering the budget. 10th of June, that is the appropriation bill. And then on the 11th of June is debate on Youth Day, and of course, reports in mini plenaries. And we have also set to have the Youth Parliament on the 12th and 13th of June. 17th is legislation and any other item that will be available until the 9th. Now, the program whip would have indicated that it was discussed in the Chief Whip's Forum yesterday that from next week, Monday, the dome will not be available until the 7th of September. Let me say 5 months, for 5 months. So the sittings will be in hybrid going forward. And of course, the whip already discussed the matter, and there were parties that stated or registered their objections to the matter. But overall, the indications are that the sittings going forward will be in hybrid format. Should there be exceptions, I'm sure the Speaker will inform the honorable members in respect of any of the sittings that are scheduled. Deputy Speaker, that is the program. Of course, we'll go into constituency from the 23rd of June until the 4th of August. We come back after the 4th of August. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Qasu. Honorable Mkalipi.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. I just want to start by engaging on this one today, which is the plenary questions for oral reply, cluster 4. Yesterday in the Chiefs Forum, we were assured that the microphones has been attended to. It was worse yesterday. So I just want to also to raise a concern that we come to this kind of platforms, we raise frustrations, we resolve issues, but when we go back to where we're supposed to do our work, the situation is worsening. Yesterday it was worse. We couldn't even hear the speaker itself. So can we get a clear report? Today, are we going to have microphones working? I know it's the last day, but it's very important when you do the work of Parliament. That is one. Secondly, I just want to get a clarity on week 13, because we are going to the constituents period, 22 April to 5 May. But Wednesday, 23, there will be a meeting, especially with the Chief Whip's Forum and Committee Chairpersons meeting. Committee of Chairpersons is something else, but I just want to understand, why do we have a Chief Whip's meeting on that day while we are in the constituency, or is the mistake here on the program? The other one, I just want to get a clarity. But Klaso is saying that there will be no debate in some of this in the program. So which one is those, so we can have a clear understanding? Because after here, we have to go to our caucuses and then explain to our members. Thanks, Deputy.
I think let's give Mr. Qasu opportunity now, and then I'll take the rest of the hands.
Thank you, ma'am. On the sound, Madam Deputy Speaker, we understand the concerns of the members. We get assurances, honorable members, before those sittings that sound has been tested by those who work with the sound. In fact, sometimes we're even present when the sound is tested, but somehow, once the proceedings begin, something else does happen. We will make the point again to our technical department that manages the sound to do their best to ensure that sound does not give problems. So, honorable member, I can give that assurance, but as a layperson who doesn't deal with the sound, but the people who deal with the sound say that everything is being done to attend to the matter. But we understand the concerns, and we really understand also the impact of the sound problems during proceedings. We'll attend to the matter, Deputy Speaker, again. And then week 13 is actually committees, Honorable Kalipi. It's not constituency, but it's up to the chairpersons or the members of these structures. As you notice, it's provisional at this point in time. So if the view is that maybe there shouldn't be a Chief Whip's Forum that day, there won't be a Chief Whip's Forum, and there shouldn't be a program committee. The way we take it is that it's always that before you have a week of plenaries, you do need a planning session. You need to reflect on the plans. So that is why we placed it there, is because the following week is leave period. We didn't want to tamper with that. So we thought members may want to reflect on the program in that committee period. So that's really the motivation for that. And then in terms of where I indicated there will be no debate, I think let's get to that. I want a date. Yes. The issue there is that these are committee reports that are emanating from committees on the budget votes themselves. So 13th to 27, there will be debates on these budget votes, each of the budget votes. And then after that, because committees would have considered strategic plans and everything else, those reports must still be adopted by the House. So when it gets to adoption of the reports, there will be no debate because the debates effectively would have been debated. I mean, the reports would have been debated during the budget vote debates in mini plenaries. So that's why we say there will be no debate. And it's something that we've done like that previously all the time. But thanks so much for raising that so that I could clarify.
Thank you, Mr. Kasu. Then I have the Honorable Frolick, Honorable
Follow-up, Chair.
Michalakis, Honorable Mkalipi.
Thanks very much for the answer provided by Mr. Koso. But really, Deputy Speaker, the issue of the sound, it must be taken serious. And we raised this point yesterday. If it's not Parliament, if it's Public Works, one must come and account, especially if it's Public Works. Because they are not here now, we want Parliament to account what happened there. So my really concern is that we can't come to such platform of Chief Whips Forum, and then immediately after that, there's a very, very, very serious problem. So Public Works, the issue of Public Works, we raised it last week. We raised it in all platforms, the issue of Public Works. So we must resolve it on the Public Works. The functions of Parliament must be the functions of Parliament. And Public Works, because they are failing us, we must not think twice. Public Works must just leave the functions of Parliament. The second aspect that Bob Kaso spoke about it, to say that we have agreed on hybrid. And he says that other political parties, they didn't. Yeah, it's EFF. We said it, we are not going to agree on hybrid session. We are also suggesting that Parliament must get a venue that is going to accommodate all 400 MPs. We had a venue in N1 City when we started this Parliament. So go and check that kind of venues to have all MPs, because we are working. Though this thing of hybrid, it was as a result of COVID. Everyone is back at work. There's no COVID, there's nothing. It can't be that Parliament continue to work on hybrid. Let us consider venues that is going to accommodate all of us. That one of N1 City, spacious, is accommodating everyone, unlike that City Hall that is very expensive and is also not conducive for members of Parliament. So we want to put on record that EFF is saying no to hybrid. Let us get a venue to continue with our work. Because the reason is also Public Works. This thing of a dome, we also fought to have a dome to accommodate all members of Parliament. Again, Public Works is coming back and said they are not ready for all fixtures. So therefore, let us have a venue that is going to accommodate all of us. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. That is noted. I had the hand of Honorable Frolick, Honorable Michalakis, and then I had them. I will first take their hands and then you can take, then I will take yours, Honorable Frolick.
No, thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honourable members, you will see there is in the program on the 12th and 13th of June, there's a reference to a youth parliament. We're in the process of setting up the task team where members of different political parties, and please send your young members of parties there so that they can make a youthful input into the program that will be discussed. We're doing it timelessly, Deputy Speaker, so that we do not get into May and then there's questions arising on it. One complicating factor, and maybe through you, the Secretary of the National Assembly must just follow up with the NCOP so that they can respond, firstly, as to who is responsible for coordinating that, and then secondly, for the names to come from the NCOP as well, because it is a joint structure that we intend putting up. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Frolick. I think members have taken note of that. Honorable Michalakis.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I note that due to the mini plenaries, and I can understand why, during the whole of May, we don't have opportunities for motions and statements, and that's absolutely fine. But may I then suggest that we add them maybe on Thursday, 29 May, and some of the Tuesdays in June, like the 3rd of June. Perhaps during the appropriations day, it's not possible, but maybe the 3rd of June and the 29th of May, I see it is on the 17th of June. So maybe those 2 days that we add opportunities for motions and statements. Otherwise, it would mean that throughout the second quarter of this year, we will only have the 17th of June for that. And I think that is really not enough for member statements. So just those 2 extra plenaries. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kaso, I think that is something that we have to take up with the programming whip, and we can have a look at that when the time comes. Honourable Reddy, you had a point still on matter raised by Honourable Mkalipi, and then I'll have Honourable.
Thank you very
Blackwood
much,
and
Deputy
Honourable
Speaker.
Mali.
I think the issue of the sound, we are not taking this seriously enough, because the problem in the dome is that the sound that we have is for a hall. It's not for a dome situation. So the acoustics there and the sound that we have is not conducive at all. It's also possible that those of us that sit where we are seated, EFF and ourselves, that we're not hearing the same sound as others are from that corner, that quarter of the dome. And I believe that what we should do to avoid debate on the matter is get some sound engineers in the interim to go out there and assess that sound. I know that we were told to use the headphones. Even the headphones yesterday were not clear at all. In fact, we reached a stage where we just gave up. We just heard mumbles here and there. We just gave up. So I want to suggest that we get a sound engineer. I know it's an interim arrangement there in the dome, but even so, I think we're making a mockery of democracy if all members cannot hear clearly what other speakers are speaking. And we're not the only ones. Even the president at one stage had a problem with the sound. Deputy Speaker, the issue of hybrid meetings. Now, the hybrid meetings is not something as Parliament that we should take as the norm. We should actually frown upon hybrid meetings because it simply defeats the whole purpose of getting engagement by all members. Firstly, parties have to choose a certain number to sit here while the others are sitting online. So it's either everybody is online, a complete online session, or everybody is sitting in a venue. And we are told that venues are a problem. I think we've got a week or two. Surely we can look around and identify a venue specifically for those plenaries where all members, 400 members, can be accommodated. The next point, Deputy Speaker, relates to the issue of member statements and motions. I agree with Honorable Mikalakis that during the month of May, we need to accommodate member statements and motions somewhere. I just don't agree that this can be done on the 29th, because we've seen what has happened in the past where we load the program up so much so that it's simply impossible to complete the business of the day during that period. So if you look on the 29th, you've got the debate on Africa Day, where all parties are contributing. Then the issue of legislation. Now, I don't know if other parties are experiencing this, but you find an item called legislation, and we are waiting committees to come up with the legislation that's going to come out there either as a debate or as a declaration. And what we've been finding happening is that these are coming up too late, very late, sometimes the night before. And as political parties, it's like we shouldn't be sleeping. We must be watching our emails. And then you got to wake everybody up to be in readiness for this declaration that comes up. So I think just sticking a topic there like legislation without identifying what is it exactly that we're going to be debating, we need to look at some timeframes and say that at least 4 days, 4 days should be sufficient before a plenary, that the declaration or the recommendation from the committee should be made available to parties so that we can prepare for that. Speaker, the next one relates to questions. Sorry, I didn't conclude the issue about the member statements and motions. I agree that we need to accommodate this in May. I just feel that we need to find another meeting where this can be accommodated, where it does not fill up the program to such an extent that it's unrealistic, so that we won't be able to complete that. The next one, Deputy Speaker, relates to questions. Now, questions, we are told very late. We make submission to the table on the questions that we have for the ministers, deputy president, etc. We get this very late, the finalization of the questions and who's going to be, which parties are going to be allocated. It comes very late. And if you go back in the last 2 months and you get a tracking of when parties are informed of their speakers, it will confirm what I'm saying. So I'm just appealing to the table staff that we need to ensure that these are given to us timelessly, so that as parties we can prepare, our questions may be prepared. If you look at MK, we take a lot of time and effort in the quality of our questions. We don't just ask any stupid, frivolous kinds of questions. We don't do that. Our questions require deep thinking by the ministers, and many of them actually shy away from our questions because they can't answer them. So it requires a lot of time. And sometimes what happens is we're given this the night before, we end up staying awake the whole night preparing with our research team, getting the questions done. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Reddy. You raised quite a number of points regarding the sound. I think Mr. Kasu has already dealt with it and will also consider your proposal of having a sound engineer. Then in terms of statements and motions, yes, that has been noted, and we will have a discussion with the programming whip. In terms of the legislation, I saw, Honourable Frolick, that you raised your hand on that particular point.
No, through you, Deputy Speaker, just to share with the honourable member that the slot that appears there is for legislation that may be ready for consideration. Now, there's something that's called the 3-day rule when it comes to legislation. You cannot, the evening before, put a piece of legislation on the order paper. That usually is considered also by the programming committee a week in advance, for the real reason that members need to be prepared for the legislation. And I can't remember in the recent past, that goes back years now, of any 3-day rule being suspended for the consideration of legislation. So that is the basis on which we work, and we will abide by that. Mr. Kaso responded to the issue of the sound engineer. I think it's a moot point now, that when the dome is finally handed over again by Public Works after this 4 or 5 months that they're going to take, that before that handover takes place, then the sound engineer must be employed and utilized by Public Works to check that everything as far as the sound is in order. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Reddy, you also mentioned the question of hybrid vis-a-vis either in person or online. That was a matter that was discussed in the Chief Whips, and I think it is a matter that was dealt with there, and there was a specific agreement with one party not being in favour, as Honourable Kalipi said that they were not in favour, but apparently the rest were. I'm not a member of the Chief Whip. That is the report that we got, I think. Honourable Lakude.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. On the issue of hybrid virtual sittings or mid sittings, we said those are the rules that were adopted by the 6th Parliament. And also we considered what the other parties, especially the EFF, was saying about not being happy with having hybrid sitting. Then what we said in that meeting yesterday is that the NA table or the Speaker's office, if they find a venue for those specific sittings when we deal with the most important business of Parliament, if there is a venue available, they will have to communicate to all of us so that we are all aware. Then on the issue of what Honorable Michalakis is proposing, I want to suggest that indeed you have responded to say that that must be dealt with by the programming whip. I just want to suggest that he puts the proposal maybe on the Chief Whip forum group. Then with the programming whip, we'll be able to look at the suitable time, because Honorable Deputy Speaker, it will not assist anyone if we pack our program for one day. That is very strenuous for all of us to be able to sit in a sitting for 5 hours. That will be too much. So if that proposal can be put on the WhatsApp group, then together with the table and the programming whip, we'll look at a suitable date for those items. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Dakudi. Then there was the question of questions. Mr. Klasu, there is a specific way in which the questions are dealt with.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think, let me say, we've noted the consent, because the consent is the time by when members get the information, and we'll coordinate that and make sure that we improve on the time issue. There are certain limitations though, but we want to take that into consideration and see how best we can deal with it to improve the process. Just to, out of fairness also, we must indicate that Public Works is not responsible for the sound. Parliament is. So we've taken note of the concerns raised, and I will be in communication with the head of the colleague dealing with the sound issues, just to explore some of the proposals that have been made. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Kasu. Honourable Manyi.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, a couple of things. Parliament is a political theatre. So when all these arrangements get made of virtual, hybrid and stuff, I can't stop to think what game is on here, because I can't attach any seriousness to, really can't attach any seriousness to a position that says we can't find a venue for 400 people in South Africa. That just can't be a serious statement. 400 people. I mean, we go to conferences and so on that have 1,000 people, dinners that have got 2,000 people. And then you say you can't find a place that can accommodate 400 people. There is no seriousness in that statement. This is just political machination. We're being managed here. This is my take. So, and I object to being managed. So I really want to appeal to the powers that be, that can they please take us seriously. When we say we want to be in a venue with 400 people, we mean it. That's the first thing. In South Africa, if it's not available in Cape Town, maybe it's available in Joburg. Let's find it. I mean, if we're not talking 4 months, it's an inordinate amount of time to be in some makeshift arrangement for 4 months. So that's the first thing. Secondly, on the issue of the ministers, okay, there's a point of exigency there. Okay. Secondly, there's a issue of ministers. I just wanted to just check, Chair, whether, do we now know whether ministers are coming? Because it is becoming a habit that we say ministers, that's just a fallacy. They don't account here. They just send the deputy. That we take this seriously, that ministers must account here. They don't account here. I mean, we go into an extent of ensuring that the plenaries are synchronized to avoid cabinet meetings or to coincide with cabinet meetings. And something, you know, we do something here to make life easy. But even that doesn't seem to help, which just indicates that ministers don't take this house seriously. So how are we going to deal with this? That point, Chair. Last time, I don't know whether it was this forum or Chief's forum, we agreed on the searching arrangements as we go into the dome. That has deteriorated like one day. That happened only for one day. Yesterday, ministers were on the fast lane with their bags through and raised it with the police there. And the police were like looking at me funny to say, what's your problem? I mean, we take decisions here, they don't get implemented. Why is it that we have SAPs disregarding the decisions of this house? Huh? Ministers are on a highway with their bags and all, you don't know what is in those bags. Who says ministers are angels? Huh? And their staff, everybody, they just go on there. I mean, something must happen there. And then also, Chair, it's a bottleneck, that two-place thing there. I mean, why should we be queuing up there? It's a serious bottleneck. You know, if you're from apartheid era like me, you get a certain issue around queues and so on. They just remind you being in number 80 Albert Street trying to queue up for your dome pass. I just hate queues. Why don't we have bigger places? The one going to have 4 places to go in. The one at the back there, why is that not used? It just doesn't make sense why we all have to bottleneck there and so on. I mean, you can't go there an hour before. What are you going to do in the dome an hour before? So everyone just goes there just before time. But then you find that you queue up there for 10 minutes. You're actually even late, but you were there on time. So can we deal with that, Chair? Yeah, I think I've exhausted my points. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Mani. In terms of the venue as well as the ministers, and your last point, I think there is agreement on that. This is something that has to be referred to the Speaker as part of the executive authority, because that's where the instructions to the police SAPs come from, as well as I know that the Speaker has interacted with the Leader of Government Business in terms of ministers present and the answering of their questions. So, Mr. Kasu, if you will make a note of that so that it be taken up with the Speaker. And then in terms of the venue, I think that is also a matter that we can also refer to the Speaker. Mr. Kasu.
Thank you, ma'am. Just on ministerial attendance or attendance by ministers this afternoon. All ministers, according to the information we have, will be available this afternoon to respond to questions. Electricity and Energy, Finance, Minister, Agriculture, Employment and Labor, Mineral and Petroleum, Communications and Digital Technologies, and Forestry. We also got confirmation that the Minister of Public Service and Administration will be present. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Kasu. Then I have Honourable Ghana and then Honourable Michalakis.
Just a short one, Chair. When the financial implications of hiring venues were presented, we said that's too much. We can't be spending so much money hiring, and we'd rather have the dome. The dome has been brought, it needs to be completed. So we can either continue spending those 400 million on hiring venues, or we can have the dome that satisfy us, because we requested the dome. It was not anyone else, it was not brought here by someone. There was a request that it be here. And when it's here, it needs to fully satisfy the acoustics that Honorable Reddy is concerned. So during this period, they are making the dome a good place. Now, the choice is whether you want to go and hire more venues. So even the submission that we can go to other provinces, the financial implications on Parliament is just too much. And at times we say, no, we must protect money for the poor. But imagine if we were to go and say Parliament must spend 500 million hiring venues. How do we justify it to the people that we serve? Because sometimes all these things assumes that the parliament has unlimited budget. It's not unlimited, it's limited. I think given the financial strain that the parliament is in, the country is in, 5 months of sacrifice will not be a bad idea. But if there's a venue that is found and it's not the city hall, definitely not the city hall, it's extremely affordable. It should be considered, but we can't be spending 5 million rands on one sitting. It can't be. We have limited funds. Let's use the funds correctly and not try to blow the budget of Parliament in the first 5 months of the financial year. Thanks very much, Honourable.
Thank you, Honourable Ghana. Honourable Michalakis.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Yes, just on that point as well. I mean, there was yesterday a suggestion of Parliament should then just move up to Johannesburg, and it all sounds very cute. 400 MPs going to Midrand. It's not as simple as that. Parliament is actually supported by thousands of people who work here, who have children in schools in Cape Town, who have families over here. So it's not just a question of moving 400 members of Parliament who rock up in Midrand. It is a question of you have a whole system or a whole structure of Parliament, thousands of people with children in schools in Cape Town, with their homes in Cape Town, who now have to move up to Johannesburg. So I would like to suggest that if we make suggestions like that, that we look at the practicality, as Honourable Ghana has said, and also the cost implications for that. There's a reason why Parliament can't just back up and move to Gauteng. And we need to, when we make suggestions like that, actually take that into account as well. Thousands of lives are affected by the institution of Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Michalakis. Honourable Frolie, can I ask you just to chair for a few minutes? I've got a thing in my throat that I just want to get rid of.
Oh, the prospective partner is saying that I must chair from here, so I humbly oblige. Yes, there were hands that were hands. I don't like to chair with people sitting behind me. There was once in the, just on a lighter note, there was once in the House of Commons, Honourable Reddy, in the United Kingdom, a situation where a young aspirant full of energy, member of Parliament, arrived for the first time. So as usual, the ones who are more experienced and have been there longer were sitting in front. And then he sits behind and he says, now I can see the opposition. Now I can deal with them. And one of the elder statesmen, it was during the time of Winston Churchill, turned around and said, my friend, don't worry about those who are sitting in front of you, worry about those who sit behind you. Yes. Can we start with the Honourable Mani and then the Honourable Mkalipi?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chair, I was going to just appeal to members of this House here, that when we raise issues, we're not raising to amongst us, we're raising it to the people that have got the power to respond to the issues, people with the designated positions. Because now if I'm going to start to interact with a one-member party situation, it's going to be a problem. Because for him, it doesn't matter whether it's hybrid or not, he'll always be here because it's just him. Yeah, for us, we've got multitudes of people here. So we're talking, so we mustn't have this engagement. First, secondly, the issue of families. We from Gauteng, we've got families as well. We make arrangements and so on. So this thing of as if it's only Cape Town people that's got families is actually condescending, seriously condescending stance that which I find very objectionable. We live families here and so on. So it's a problem. We experience a very expensive life. We have got 2 lives. We do groceries in Joburg, we do groceries here. So I don't want to go into that space. So all I'm appealing is that when we raise issues here, we're raising it to the people that have got the power to make responses to. We're not talking amongst ourselves. Thank you, Chair.
Honourable Mkalipi?
Chair, we can't hide behind finances of Parliament. All we are saying, let us get a venue. Whether we get a venue at Kwalanga, which will accommodate all 400 members, that will be fine. Anyway, we are calling ourselves People's Parliament. So what is preventing us to go to Kwalanga, where our people are residing? We are not saying that let us go and get a very expensive venue. The main point is to get all 400 members working under one roof. We are voted by people. For now, let us not hide behind all sorts of manner of things that does not matter to our people. The issue of having families in Cape Town, there's a visibility study, Chair, about moving Parliament to Tuan. That Parliament is also dealing with. So therefore, to be told that, let us also think about families, what. If there's a problem of venues in Cape Town, South Africa have 9 provinces. We can move Parliament to anywhere. Because even the debate that was on before is to say that all the ministers, when they come here, they come with their stuff. It's expensive. Flights, accommodations, everything. If we move Parliament here, it will be also be saving, because Ghana is concerned about the money of Parliament. So let us not venture into that space. Let us put the people of South Africa first, that all 400 members of Parliament, they must go and work for their money.
Thank you.
I just wait
Deputy
when-
Speaker, we
when
still on the
upendiwe
point.
ngikutshelile naye
Order, honorable
upendiwe
members.
wena.
Order.
Upendiwe.
Let's respect one another. And may I just, before I hand over, Deputy Speaker, we're still on the point of the issue of venue. But let me just make the point, honorable members, that all members of Parliament, all 400 members are fully members of Parliament, whether they come from a big party or a one-man party or two-person party. All of them are members of Parliament and can participate freely in deliberations.
Thank you, Honourable Frolick. My apologies, I have a bit of a cold. Honourable Dlakudi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. On the issue of venues, I think we deliberated a lot about this yesterday and today. I think we should step off this mark, as it has been noted, and I'm sure as the Deputy Speaker and the NA table, you heard what members are saying. So to overemphasize the point, we can do so the whole day, but sitting here, it will not change anything. So I want us to go towards the conclusion of this meeting, Honorable Deputy Speaker, because we have caucuses. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Dlakudi. Yes, I think this matter has been ventilated now, and we will proceed to the next point on the agenda, and that is the minutes of the 27th of March. It has been circulated. Do I have anyone who will propose for the adoption of the minutes? Honourable Ghana.
This one, 2-member party is making a huge difference. We'll deal with you. This is just the start. Let me move for the adoption of the minutes.
Thank you, Honourable Ghana. And seconded, Honourable Dlakudi, thank you so much. The minutes are then adopted. Any matters arising? I don't see any matters arising. We will then proceed. And then announcement. Any announcements, Mr. Kasu?
No announcements from me, Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
And with that then, there being no announcement, I adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much, and good luck and enjoy your constituency break.